Caridad, it's so lovely to meet you in the
Finally
flesh.
meet you.
I know. It's been crazy. Today is, I think, well, it is our 4th year birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Where's the cake?
Yeah, I know. You know, when you're like struggling and rushing to get through, to get ready for a shoot, you definitely missed a small detail. But maybe later we can order some cake.
Once you're done, get some cake.
Yeah,
in.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think everyone, like, you know, late afternoon will appreciate the sugar boost.
Yes.
But it's so lovely to see you. And thank you so much for being with us
pleasure.
you know, maybe since the first year even.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was COVID year, I think.
Yeah.
We got in touch.
Exactly.
It's taken us 4 years to meet.
I know. We're both quite relaxed people. So
Yeah. I'm
busy. Oh, yes, and that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us just a bit about yourself? What do you do?
So I work in film and TV. So I've been doing that for 20 years now. Wow. I'm kind of at a point where I'm shifting a little bit to get a little bit older. But yeah, so I have a very busy work schedule.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a cool industry to be in.
It's cool. It's quite grueling, but it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. The perks are great, but it's hard graft.
It's hard graft. It's very long hours, and it's cold and rain and early starts. It's
stamina. That's awesome. So I want to talk about your glorious hair.
Oh, thanks.
Have you always had curly hair or embraced your curls?
No. Well, I think I've always had, a lot of people would say my hair's wavy rather than curly.
Some strands.
Yes, so I don't have a very even curl pattern at all. And growing up, I didn't really know what it was. And I think that's a struggle that a lot of people with wavy hair have.
Yes.
It doesn't have a definitive curl. It doesn't fall into shape easily. And it can often just feel like it's a mess or it's difficult or it's tangly or it's frizzy. And I think that's the struggle of wavy hair in particular. And I think where a lot of people kind of just get frustrated with their hair. I think I've always had a good relationship with my hair, but growing up, I never knew what to do with it.
Yeah. And I think the easy thing sometimes is just to like straighten it or brush it out.
Yeah, I never went down that route, to be honest.
Good.
Yeah, I wasn't very good at straightening it either. And every time I tried that, it actually just looks stringy and dry. I don't have really dry hair, but when I just didn't have that skill of straightening. So that didn't work for me either.
Yeah.
I was kind of in that in between.
I don't have the patience for it on a consistent... It's much better for the health of your hair, not to straighten, not to...
Yeah, I think if you can find a way to work with what you've got and do what your hair wants to do, you're always going to be in a better place.
Yeah, and you're always on Instagram and on socials talking about hair and talking about hair maintenance. How did you get into that role?
It was COVID.
What happened?
Yeah,
really?
yeah. So it was... I think a lot of people kind of found their hair journey during that time.
Yes.
And it was the same for me. I'd been at work and I'd just overheard a couple of people talking about curly girl method and my ears pricked up. And I was like, oh, I know I've got kind of wavy curly hair, but didn't know what to do, hadn't been taught what to do with it growing up. And, you know, suddenly we were all at home and we were locked in and we weren't allowed to go anywhere. We weren't allowed to see anyone, but we had the internet at our disposal.
Yeah.
So I'm the sort of person, I tend to go down on deep dives in researching topics.
Yeah.
It was a lockdown project, really.
Right.
I just thought, I'm going to do an Instagram page.
Nice.
And I just started researching and looking into different content creators and just taking in information. And it just kind of went from there, really.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And has it, you know, now people turn to you for advice. How has that been? Has it felt rewarding? Has it... I mean, that's a leading question, but how has it felt?
It's a mixed bag. I mean, obviously, I'm not a professional. I'm not trained. I don't have any qualifications. But like I say, I do like to research topics and get quite in depth with things like that. It's one of those things I think people often want help, but don't know where to start.
Yeah.
They don't know what really they're asking a lot of the time. So I think what I try to do is try to understand the person, where they're coming from and what is it they actually want to know. Because often people would just say, what products do you use?
Yes.
And if they saw my product stash, they wouldn't ask that question because it's huge and I don't always use the same products.
No.
And I think what's interesting is, you know, where your hair is is a journey.
Yeah.
You know, how your hair turns out today depends on what you did to it yesterday and what you did to it last month. And
how well you slept,
how you've been
how you're
treating
eating.
it. Yeah, all of those things. It's like going to the gym for your body. You can't just say what equipment do you use and then the next day you turn out looking amazing. It's the same for your hair. So, you know, it's working out what is that person after, what can they cope with in terms of the information that I give them? Do they just want something simple just to kind of help them along?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of working out the communication, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. And just going back to your work and your hair and COVID, and how have you felt your hair affects your confidence?
I think I've gone through phases with it. For me, my hair was never a trigger point. I think for a lot of people it is.
Yeah.
A lot of people have huge emotions linked to their hair.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I think I've always had quite a positive association with my hair. Although I didn't know how to make the best of it.
Right.
I've never had bad feelings about my hair. And I think that's something that I try to kind of bear in mind when people message me, because a lot of people do have very big emotions linked to their hair.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
and
I mean,
traumas, you know,
traumas, it's a big trauma issue for some people. But yeah, I've always had I'm quite lucky. I have quite thick hair. I have a lot of hair, and not everybody's in that place. But I've been through a lot of different phases with it. I had it very short for many years. I used to go to the kind of salon academies and just kind of sit on stage and say, do what you want. So I went through kind of lots of phases, and I've kind of come full circle back to where I was when I was younger, and it was just long and thick. And just try to work with it again.
That actually happened to me. I went to a big salon academy. I sat on stage and said, I had really long hair, almost waist length hair. And I said, do what you like. And
did they cut it all off?
I regret it. Well, they cut at the time. It was really, you had like 2 dramatic layers. Yeah. And so I had a long layer, and then they cut a really short layer.
Okay, yeah.
And to this day, I mean, the wraps help and not applying heat helps, but, it's still slowly growing out because of that, the extent to which how short they cut it.
Yes.
And because of my curl pattern, it gets a bit drier up top. I think for most people that's the case. It's just more exposed. And so, I've struggled with that. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I did it when I was in my 20s, and it was a lot of fun, and it was a way to kind of get cheap haircuts. And I had all the colours.
Yeah.
I had a pixie cut and mohawks, and I had everything.
Yeah. It's really cool. So what advice would you give to someone trying to look after their hair and figure out what to use, how to look after their curl pattern and their waves? Yeah, I mean, I think it's so individual, and what works for me might not work for somebody else. So I think it's working out, where is your hair at? What have you been doing to it? Is it damaged? Does it need repair? For me, my struggle that I'm always battling against is I have very fine hair, but I've got a lot of it. And so I get a lot of product build-up, and I have very hard water. Yeah. Check your water is a big one. So if you've got very hard water, then your products won't work in the same way as they will with soft water. So you need to have shampoo that's specifically catered to that. Otherwise, you won't get rid of all of the residue that's on your hair, and your products won't work as well. Interesting. Yeah. That might be a big challenge for me too, because I never really thought about that in relation to product. I minimize the use of products on my hair because I don't want to add to the buildup. But I think you're right. Since I moved house, the water has affected. That was a really big one for me. I moved into an area that had really hot, like worse than London water, really bad water, very chalky. And that was where my hair started to struggle. And I was finding that it was getting very brittle. Right. And I could not detangle my hair for the life of me. And I would just kind of yank my comb through, and I'd end up with kind of bits of broken hair all the way through my bathtub. And it wasn't until I was researching and I realised that actually hard water is really damaging for your hair. Yeah. And once I started incorporating the hard water shampoos, that's where I really saw the kind of changes in my hair and the improvements. And I think it's something that a lot of people miss. Yeah, no, for sure. I hadn't thought of that. Thank you. Yeah. Final question: if you're someone who's like me, minimalist, you only want 3 products in your bag, or you can't afford to get loads of products and buy lots of big bottles and then throw away half of them because they're not quite the right one for you, what are little shortcuts that you might suggest to finding the right product for you?
Well, do what I did when I started. Use supermarket products, because you can get great hair mousses for £3 and gels. I think make sure you're using a cleanser that's adequate for you. So again, if you've got hard water, that's one thing I would say is worth investing in, is a hard water shampoo.
Right.
If you're using a shampoo that is quite strong like that, then you're going to need to make sure that you condition properly.
Yeah.
And then you need some sort of styler. So it's best to use more than one styler, I find. And again, it's just experimenting. But, you know, don't spend loads of money on product. You can go to the supermarket and try things that are cheap or that are on offer and just play around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great advice. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thanks.